Episode 28 of the Green Light Pod. I'm yelling into the microphone because I was told I need to bring more energy to the open. How am I doing, mate?
Too loud.
Too loud. Today we have episode 28, so our favorite number 28 of the moment. We're going to talk about the Oscars. We're going to talk about Valentine's Day. We're going to check in on Macon's torn labrum. We're going to talk about the XFL.
Still torn.
Still torn. We've got Ninkovich, Rob Ninkovich on the line to talk about the Patriots and some of the quarterback movement in the NFL, as well as some mailbag. And as always, that's an exclusive Green Light segment. No one else does mailbag. We made that up. So stay tuned. Hang with us here for a little bit. Welcome to episode 28.
Because you've just said that in the open.
Of the Green Light Pod. I like to welcome, I'm a welcoming host.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Feels like just yesterday it was...
Friday, and we were recording for a Saturday.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the news is out of our camp that we will be doing these podcasts, to release midweek. We picked a day. The analytics, the numbers tell us that you guys like our stuff most on Wednesdays. So that's what we're going to do. So we'll be joining you, Macon and I. Of course, I'm your host, Macon, the esteemed co-pilot, slanger of MLS, real estate, UVA sports extraordinaire, and terrific wingman, co-host.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem.
And you.
Yeah, let's
you.
I mean,
humanitarian.
Yeah.
Philanthropist.
Yeah.
Former football player.
Mm-hmm.
Glow up with your special hair.
Yeah, it's special today.
I mean,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's give you some props.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's a good intro. Okay. I love getting praised, don't I? So here we are, episode 28. It's a lot of episodes. We have been, of course, doing, as of late, our favorite jersey number each episode as it corresponds with the episode number. So we are 28. Who went first last week? You did, because I remember you listing every number 27.
Well, you're upset because I mentioned Vlad Glad, and then you picked Vlad Glad.
That really wasn't it. It was just that anybody who's ever worn 27 got a mention, and that sets a precedent now.
That's fair. I will say that your pick stayed with me for a couple days.
Really?
I really liked it.
Yeah?
Yep.
Jealous even.
Who did I pick? 27.
Forgettable.
It would have been Eddie George.
George.
I liked your pick more.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. So I'll start this week because you did last week. I'm going to go with the number 28 that's near and dear to my heart. The author, or one of the main authors of my first ring in the NFL. This is James White.
I noticed how you went away from Malcolm Jenkins last week because that would be too predictable, and yet you go James White this week. So did you enjoy your time in New England more than Philadelphia?
Right, that's what we're doing. Yeah, well, it's kind of like, I hated Carson Wentz when I liked Nick Foles, and now I'm
all you talk about is Carson Wentz.
So it's hard to pin me down. James White, mostly a third down back in New England, but an incredible weapon. Basically, they use him like an extra wide receiver. That's just getting down to it. That's how they use their backs, the most of them. And he's been awesome. Little known fact, or something I didn't know. I shouldn't qualify it as a little known fact because there's a lot I don't know. But he won a high school national championship with St. Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas Aquinas
in Florida.
Florida.
What does that mean, national championship?
I don't know what that means. We didn't win any at Stab.
But maybe even we did.
Maybe we did. Yeah,
I wasn't on the team. No, but division 55.
Well, I think the football's pretty good down there in Florida. In fact, him and Giovanni Bernard, who obviously is Bengals long-time running back, or is getting to be a long time now, were in the same backfield there at St. Thomas Aquinas.
Why do you say it like that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is he known for saying St. Thomas Aquinas?
He said Thomas Aquinas in his accent in, I think it was Kindergarten Cop.
Gotcha.
Was that the movie he said Thomas Aquinas?
Okay.
The way he did, and I love the way he said it. Yeah, he's a 3-time Big Ten champion, 3-time Super Bowl champion. He only had 29 rushing yards though in that Super Bowl in 2016, but he had 110 receiving. So that's the big thing. He joined Roger Craig as the only running back with over 100 yards receiving in a Super Bowl and broke Demaryius Thomas's previous record for most receptions in a Super Bowl. He, of course, secured that record in that blowout loss to Seattle.
Big fantasy guy in PPR leagues, and I ask you, what does PPR stand for?
Points per...
Okay, let's break it down. What did he do well in that Super Bowl?
Points per reception.
Very good.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, but what's remarkable is that I didn't know what that stood for, that acronym, and then I also didn't set my lineup for multiple weeks and still didn't end up with the died tips like our boy Matt Conrath. It'd be a good time. Can we interrupt the programming on the jersey numbers to show, since we're talking about Matt Conrath really organically, who joined the show last week with his fresh dyed tips. This is the picture Macon took.
Just saw this gentleman today. I was with my buddy Daniel. We're driving along and look over to see a man with...
fully committed.
Was born with dark hair.
Yeah.
And went with the full bleach, blonde. And was wearing it well, was owning it, but I had to do a double take. It looked like...
I thought it was Matt Conrath.
Kind of looked like our buddy Matt.
Who's a friend of the program, and the reviews of our pod last week were very positive. People liked the Chicago gang.
Yeah.
They really did. And the Chicago gang liked doing podcasts. I think Kevin Backey, Badback Backey, sat up at the end of the podcast, laboring. He sat up and he said, that's pretty easy. I could do a podcast all the time.
That was so much fun. Easy. Nice,
easy fucking podcast, huh?
Maybe there's a little Chicagoland podcast under the chalk umbrella.
Maybe we could do that. I mean, if the demand is high, we can get those guys back. But we were talking about James White. 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl, along with the 2-point conversion. That's 20 points in a Super Bowl. That's the record. Tied the game with a touchdown, and that, of course, needed that Amendola 2-point conversion that everybody forgets about. Shout out to Dola. Game winner in overtime. And Brady, who won the MVP, said that James White should have gotten the award. If he thought that, though, did Brady get a truck or something?
Most likely.
Did he give him the truck?
It's possible. I don't think Tom's really worried about if he's coming home with the F.
I know, but the least you can do is give James White an F-250.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe he did.
But I agree that, we wouldn't have won it without Tom, but James White, of anybody else, was the obvious choice. First Super Bowl game-winning touchdown in overtime, which is kind of surprising because I think that was the first overtime Super Bowl. But second in an NFL championship game. The first was in 1958. Alan Amici, also a Wisconsin Badger for the Baltimore Colts.
I'm trying to look up that overtime question, so I went to Google.
Yeah.
Super Bowl results, but I accidentally typed in Super Bowl results.
That's right up your alley.
So I'm on a different website.
You, not to get too personal, but you bought me a poop log book once.
Yeah, I did. Poolog.
Poop log. Can you tell us about that book?
Sure. It's a way where you can register. I mean, it was, you're a friend and I care about your health, and you can document whether or not you're regular.
Yeah.
And there is a space if you want to,
document the shape.
Yeah.
Poop log. It's a book you can get. I'm sure you can get it on Amazon.com.
You have a book down in the downstairs bathroom about...
Yeah, I noticed that. Who gave us that book here at the Chalk offices?
I don't know.
What's the name of that book?
I don't remember.
It's something that has to do with Dr. Dews. People love to get the poop books. They're not coffee table books.
The thing about
that would be disgusting.
Is that everybody poops.
Yeah, that's the thing about pooping.
We need to get rid of that stigma.
It's a total stigma. Speaking of digestive system, before we get to your number 28, I'm officially a Reddit fitness fucking weirdo. I have started intermittent fasting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did I? I didn't tell you that, did I?
You didn't know that, did I?
Did I? One of the problems with intermittent fasting is you get your pronouns messed up.
Okay, so what are you doing? Are you doing the 16-8, the 14?
Whoa,
yeah.
Well versed.
Yeah,
yeah,
well-versed.
Thus far I'm 16-8.
How long into it are you?
1 day.
Is this day one or
this is day one? Kind of risky on the day of a pod.
So you just ate.
I ate.
Was that your first meal of the
dinner at 7 last night. I was finished by 7:15, and I ate breakfast this morning at 11:15 a.m. Check my math.
Well, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Because that would be,
16 hours exactly.
Yeah. Nice math.
Thank you.
On you. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that difficult when you break it down.
No, it's really not that hard. Most of that time I was sleeping and then, doing some studying in the morning, but I wasn't hungry.
The issue is, I found, for those of us who grind and still have jobs and haven't retired in our early to mid-30s.
Kick their feet up.
Yeah, you can't really just say, breakfast at 11.
Yeah, no, I think you could. You just pack something in your little lunchbox there that you bring to your real estate office. You bring your nice little Virginia sports lunchbox that you have.
Yeah, but I like to make a smoothie every morning.
Oh, you do?
I've had the same breakfast for about 7 years every day.
What's in that smoothie?
Sure. Baby spinach, Greek yogurt.
Sure.
Raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, protein powder, and almond milk. And actually, I'm going to start to add a couple.
Can I tell you what's in my shake?
Yeah.
Superfood protein, 2 scoops of collagen protein, keep that glow. The elasticity of your epidermis.
Right.
That's your skin. It's the biggest organ in your body for most. Now, I also put almond butter in there, berries like you, but just blueberries.
Just blueberries.
Yeah. That's my berry of choice.
Okay.
And then some almond butter as well. So it's fairly simple compared to your shake. Probably healthier.
No greens?
I do a little green powder in there. Yeah, I didn't.
What does it taste like?
Tastes good. Tastes like almond butter, and berries. So yeah. So that's my first thing I eat at 11:15 in the morning. Now going forward, I am a religious. I'm a intermittent fasting zealot. This is what I do. It's my lifestyle. I don't know if I'm keto or any of that stuff, but.
And what's the objective?
I think, I have a friend who's cool and does all this cool stuff. And one of the cool things he does is intermittent fasting. And he's also in shape. So I'm like, well, maybe I can get in shape.
I get that, but you are already in shape.
Yeah, but maybe like...
are you trying to cut?
Well, they say it helps your digestive system, obviously, right? So I'm a total moron here. I did this on a whim last night.
Wim Hof. You did this on a Wim Hof.
I did this on a Wim Hof. Shout out to Wim Hof. I also still do. When you combine the intermittent fasting with the Wim Hof showers, unstoppable.
Yes.
I don't drink coffee, nothing. No. Nothing. Now, I did this last night. I was like, you know what? I think I want to join this intermittent fasting movement. The other options, there was like you don't eat for 2 days out of the week, period, right? And then what's the third? There's a third, right?
Combo of the two.
I don't want to take any shortcuts to being great. So 16/8's the way for me. I hear it restores your cells, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now we're getting to the objective.
Repairs your cells. For me, I'd like more even-keeled energy. I would like, and I would like my body composition to improve. It's almost beach time, dude.
Nah.
I mean, I'm always a couple months ahead.
Okay.
So who's your number 28?
My number 28 is Darryl Green.
Oh, wow.
You can see him here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Big sleeves, which was the primary reason for this selection. Darryl Green played for the Washington team, which is not my favorite team, but the guy was fast.
Yeah, still is, I think, probably.
Yeah. School?
Darryl Green.
Texas A&M Kingsville. The 28th
powerhouse
overall pick in the 83 draft, 5'9", 184 pounds, ran the 110.08 in 1983, 2 Super Bowls, 7 Pro Bowls. Son Jared went to the university.
Yeah, I played with Jared.
Yep. Played for the Washington team his entire career.
Yeah. Played until he was almost 40, or was he 40?
Yeah, close to it.
Yeah, pretty remarkable to be a defensive back still manning people up. At 40.
Yeah.
You got anything else on this guy?
Well, you went, 15 minutes on James White,
we kind of went James White. We went intermittent fasting. We went Matt Conrad's died tips.
Yeah.
I'd say in total, I talked about James White for 3 minutes.
Okay. No, I don't have much more. I think it's really big of me to pick a Washington team member.
Yeah, no,
there's no bias here.
No.
Others to consider. I know you like when I go through all the others.
But do go through all.
A couple running backs that bear mentioning, Adrian Peterson, Marshall Faulk. Yeah. When I was looking at pictures of Marshall Faulk last night, God, as a person who cares about uniforms, you were really done dirty.
I was done really dirty with those Rams uniforms.
I mean, inside that navy and mustard gold, if we're being generous,
it was bad.
It was bad.
It was very bad.
It was bad.
Imagine trying to swag that uniform out in a number 72 rookie year. On teams that just weren't very good anyways, which killed your swagger to begin with. But that shiny gold indoor and that kind of yellowing Edward Jones dome light, that can be hard.
Now that they're outside and going back to the old color scheme, looks great.
Beautiful. Natural grass.
Had I picked Marshall Faulk, I would have gone back to the San Diego State days.
Oh, would you? Would you have?
To pull out a 28, yeah.
Okay.
Somebody on Twitter, a website I know you don't care for, mentioned that we forgot Mike Trout last time. I didn't forget him.
I didn't forget Mike Trout.
This is just 20. This is numbers that correspond with episodes that we like.
Yeah, I mean, in no way am I insinuating that James White is a superior player to Adrian Peterson. But James White was a lot of the reason that I have one of the rings I have. So also, that was a really cool picture we showed here on YouTube.com. Him spiking the ball after, I think it was a game winner in the end zone. So all that culminated to me picking James White. And 29 we have up next. I can't even think of too many 29s off the top of my head. But
I can think of one off the top.
Yeah.
Another Rams running back.
E. Dick.
Yeah. The go-to nickname of Eric Dickerson, E. Dick. Who could forget? So is he off limits for 29? No, I think okay. No, not
so
at all.
We're playing a little psychological warfare here.
Yeah.
We've already discussed. So we'll be back with that pick next week, and that's the end of our podcast.
Yeah.
Just joking. I do want to talk about Valentine's Day, everybody's favorite holiday.
Okay.
Do you have anything on Valentine's Day? It's coming up this week. Any advice for guys who are... And see, this is the problem. The way we're... Hold on a second. Let me cut to the chase here. The way I did it. Any advice to guys? Girls, you're on the clock too on Valentine's Day. You're being evaluated too on Valentine's Day. I think the holiday is an abomination.
Cosign.
It's corporate. It's not a real holiday. There's nothing. I don't even know who. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, St. Valentine. That's who it's named after. He was a great guy. I don't give a fuck. It's not an important holiday, and it's corporately contrived. It's just basically Hallmark making a shit ton of money. Like, you've got married people struggling to make ends meet, struggling to drop the kids off at work, taking kids to basketball practice, going to parent-teacher conferences, people trying to cook dinner for their kids, piling everybody into the minivan, but they got to make one stop at Hallmark to spend $35 on a fucking bear to buy for another adult, or a Hallmark card that looks the same as all the other 40 Hallmark cards that you bought your spouse. It's a sham, and I refuse to give it any legitimacy on this podcast. Valentine's Day, and it's also one-sided. Okay, so when I told you my theory here, you're like, you might get in trouble. It's just a girls' holiday. It's just for girls. Have you gotten anything for Valentine's Day lately?
So you're asking me to think back a year plus. I don't remember.
I don't think I've ever gotten a gift for Valentine's Day. So if I'm going to do Valentine's Day from now on, I expect a present. Like a present. I want some jewelry.
My lovely girlfriend Kate and I.
My lovely wife.
historically,
Lovely wife Meg.
we don't participate. We give each other our time.
Good.
Yeah.
There we go.
With that said, for me,
yeah,
there are numerous martyrdom stories associated with various Valentines connected to February 14th, including a written account of St. Valentine of Rome's imprisonment for performing weddings for soldiers who were forbidden to marry and for ministering to Christians persecuted under the Roman Empire. So, according to legend, St. Valentine restored sight to the blind daughter of his judge. I guess you're against
if you believe that.
And he wrote her a letter signed, "Your Valentine," as a farewell before his execution, which I guess you were for. The feast of St. Valentine was established, of course, by Pope Gelasius I.
Of course.
In AD 496 to be celebrated on February 14th in honor of the Christian martyr St. Valentine of Rome, who died on that date in 269. Again, I guess you were a proponent of his perishing.
Was he Roman?
Well, yeah.
The Romans did a lot of bad stuff now.
Yeah.
So I guess you're for the Romans doing all the bad stuff they did.
I think it's a really special day for a lot of reasons. I don't get caught up in the Hallmark part of it.
I don't think it's a special day. My lovely wife and I, Meg, we don't do any gifts.
Now, that reminds me of my lovely girlfriend Kate, who I mentioned earlier. We give each other our time.
Yeah. Well, me and my lovely wife, Meg, we give each other the whole day. And that's even with 2 children. We just put the kids in another room and let them fend for themselves. Yeah. And we just hang out all day. We do candlelight breakfast, candlelight lunch.
Wow.
Candlelight dinner. Yeah.
You're married,
candlelight dessert. Yeah. I took a vow. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
And I love the institution of marriage. I love my lovely wife, Meg.
Yeah, I guess my lovely girlfriend Kate and I are doing this of our own volition. Don't even need a vow to spend time with each other. Yeah, that's how much we mean to each other.
Yeah, okay. Well, just don't fall for the corporate okie doke there. Okay. That's my rant. It's one-sided. It's corporate. Dude, stick up for yourself. You demand a present back. If you have to get your girlfriend or your wife or your significant other a gift, then you should expect one in return. And if you don't get that gift, I want you to make a big deal about it. I want you to make a really big deal about it and hold it over your spouse or your girlfriend's head for weeks.
Cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
On board with that?
Yep.
Okay, good. We let's get to the Oscars, because evidently everybody likes the Oscars, talking about the Oscars, so we got to talk about the Oscars on this show. You said you had some Oscars takes. I don't know how we're going to talk about the Oscars, but you want to just have at it?
Sure. I told you of the Best Picture nominees that I had seen: 1917, Parasite, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
As our friend Maury would say, that was a lie.
Okay.
I had intended to see Jojo Rabbit last evening.
Yes.
Didn't happen. I will see it soon.
Same with Parasite for me. I'm 30 minutes in.
30 minutes in, so you've stopped? Never stop a movie.
Well, I have two kids.
You married?
Lovely wife, Meg. I got to get candlelight dinners ready all the time.
I'm going to rank the 4 that I did see.
Yep.
Coming in at number 4, and here we go, 1917.
Damn, really?
Number 3, The Irishman. Number 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And this take was a lot cooler a week ago, but I absolutely loved Parasite.
Okay, well, Parasite, I'm 30 minutes in, and I just noticed that
there's subtitles.
There's no one speaking English in the movie.
Yep. It's one of those.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't change the whole movie?
Nah, afraid not.
By the way, in all seriousness,
see it in the theater.
No, but is it still out?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I might see it in the theater, but it doesn't seem like one of those movies you have to see in the theater.
You don't have
Anybody that sees 1917 not in the theater is really leaving a lot on the table.
And
it's
I want
not
to
one
say
of those.
that I enjoyed 1917.
Yeah, well, you just shit on it. You just took a huge.
I ranked it 4th out of 4 in a bunch of good movies. It's a category of good movies. Okay. And I liked it. Not unlike Dunkirk, which is not a hot take. I just need...
Wait. You said not unlike Dunkirk. Do you think Dunkirk came in 4th? Can you believe that Shape of Water won over Dunkirk?
You're just saying things.
No, I'm not just... Do you remember Shape of Water, the movie, Grinding Nemo?
No, I didn't see that.
The movie where the guy or the girl gets underwater with the fish man?
I'd say woman.
Woman, girl. Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
But the spoiler alert, she's not really a woman. Okay. She might be a fish woman.
I know you text messaged me that you were watching it, but you said you were watching...
I said Lady in the Water. That was a Freudian slip because both movies were not great, in my opinion. Lady in the Water is one of the only movies I've ever walked out of the theater in. And I was a teenager at that point. Teenagers just don't just walk out of movies.
Yeah, I've seen neither
unless they're
of those
going to
films.
do drugs in an alley or something.
Huh.
Dark turn.
Yeah.
For me, Van Helsing, Lady in the Water, two of the worst movies I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, Shape of Water, I couldn't believe it beat Dunkirk. Would you agree that Dunkirk was superior as a movie to 1917?
Yes.
1917 had some scenes that were otherworldly.
And the whole one-shot trick is impressive.
Yes.
But I need more character development. I need more story. I need more dialogue.
Do you?
Those characters were not compelling to me.
Yeah, okay. And also, the dudes on the red carpet, more so the taller guy in the movie. Mm-hmm. Here's to go to show you I wasn't attached to the characters either. I don't remember their names in the movie. He looked like he just got out of World War I. Like he was tired as fuck. Like I don't know what he's been doing, if he's just been partying since they did that one long shot.
Yeah.
He's just been binging, but he looked pretty haggard on the red carpet. My lovely wife Meg, she said he looks like a young Christopher Walken.
Love Christopher Walken.
Now you ranked what one?
Parasite, bro. One of the best movies I've ever seen.
I feel like you're jumping on the bandwagon.
No,
here. It really is.
Damn it, we should have done this last week.
Okay, so 30 minutes into the movie, I don't know what the movie is yet, which I have no issue with.
That's a good thing.
I know it's a good thing. It's got to change. It's been just fine. In the next 90 minutes, it's really got to take a turn to be one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Okay. Well, I don't need it to be one of the best movies you've ever seen.
It's got to be one of the best movies that you've ever seen.
I've ever seen.
Now, that was the first, I believe it was the first foreign, subtitled movie to ever win Best Picture.
Non-English speaking.
Have you ever seen City of God?
No.
City of God is tremendous. Also subtitled.
You ever seen Fargo?
Yes.
Terrific movie. How long do you want to do this?
No, I mean, it's just that one was related to the other not so much.
Hey, answer me this. You ever seen My Cousin Vinny?
Have you ever seen Repo Man?
No.
I tried to watch that shit this weekend. Not a great movie. What I did watch this weekend in the Oscar spirit was loading up on some old oldies but goodies is Truman Show. Have you ever seen Truman Show?
I have.
What did you think about Truman Show?
Don't remember.
Jesus. You need to go back and watch Truman Show.
Okay.
It's terrific. I guess my big takeaway from the Oscars, and I only had one eye on it the entire time, is that it's awkwardly unfunny, most of it.
I love the Oscars, and that's part of the equation.
Yeah.
Some things are just cringeworthy.
Yes. But they walk into this buzzsaw like these very talented people have to know when they read their little lines that it's not going to be funny.
They did a fairly good job this year, but sometimes it's not.
I thought that the dude in Rebel Wilson in the cat suits was just marvelous.
It was marvelous because you have a guy whose whole life is made by winning an Oscar, and it's presented to him by people in cat suits.
Yeah. But I mean, at that point, you won a fucking Oscar, which, by the way, I mean, it's insane to me. He went through this thing with Leo, and The Revenant, I think, was his first one. Brad really waited that long.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Really?
What it takes to win that sucker right there.
I didn't know that movie had anything to do with the Manson murders going in.
Yeah.
Oh, great movie. Another great movie.
Great movie. And also, I knew going in that it had something to do with the Manson murders. And the entire time, I almost thought that was one movie that it was good to know that going in because it made you second guess everything. And it made all the twists and turns even more interesting. I thought he was terrific. I also thought Leo was, as always, like laughably good.
You want to know who the coolest guy in the world is?
Who's that?
It's Leo.
You think?
Really like Leo.
Yeah. I like Bong.
Oh, yeah. Bong nailed it.
Bong was one of the fucking coolest guys I've ever seen.
Yeah. The only English words he knows is, I will be drinking till next morning.
And then also him mentioning that he is pretty cool. Guy from South Korea growing up studying Scorsese, which he talked about in his speech, and he's sitting right out there and you're getting it just goes to show you that like now in film, it seems like at least for Americans, we're getting to see a little bit of everything, and that's cool. And I guess it's a big deal to people. The Oscars internationally is probably a big deal to everybody.
My lovely girlfriend Kate and I had a little Oscars party.
Yeah.
And
can we keep track of who's winning the
it was awesome.
The SIG other name drop.
You get to pick every category and keep track.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe my wife and I, my lovely wife Meg, should try that. We've done a lot. We've had a lot of Oscars together. We've been together for a very long time. So it's just,
That's neat. Yeah, I've known my lovely girlfriend Kate for about 22 years now and running.
What took you so long to, tie the knot or not tie the knot, sorry.
Again, we don't need
to tie the proverbial relationship knot.
We don't really need these artificial labels or vows or anything.
Okay. Got you. Okay. Other Laura Dern. Let's talk about Laura Dern.
Okay.
Seems like one of the nicest people I've ever seen. Very maternal. Like I would like to have Laura Dern in my corner.
Yeah. She seems like good people. She was also a shoo-in to win. You probably should have been gambling on all of these because the favorites kind of knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Though people did anticipate up until the last week going in that 1917 might win over Parasite. Laura Dern also had a little fling with Baron Davis.
She did.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of the Warriors.
Yeah, of the UCLA Bruins.
I also want to mention Billie Eilish.
Please.
Who is Billie Eilish?
Sure. Billie Eilish is a singer.
Yeah.
She has green and black hair presently.
Yeah. What kind of music does she sing?
Bad.
Oh, it's not good?
Well, some people like it. And
evidently.
She performs with her brother Phineas.
Okay. Got you. So you knew about this person before the Oscars.
Well, the award circuit. I tuned into the Grammys a little bit.
Do you think she was making a face at Maya and Wig, or do you think that it was? Did you see that whole thing?
Yeah.
No. Do you think she was making a face at him, or she just felt awkward that she was on?
That's
a quick way to.
I think when the cameraman is hanging out in the aisle for minutes at a time, it's hard to keep your best face on the stage.
You know what? You didn't give me that same benefit of the doubt at the NFL
You knew you were
honors.
on camera.
So did she.
You knew. Yeah, but yours was a 3-second deal.
Okay. Billie Eilish and me, not so much different, maybe.
And Chris Long is with us.
Community Service Award winner.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Here I am. Thank you. Yes.
I mean, that's pretty. I mean, like no host. That was a little different, right? They don't have a host.
Parasite won without a host.
I mean, that
is really fun.
Where'd you read that?
The internet.
Yeah.
And I want to say, I believe young Billie Eilish has a lovely voice, and her music might be fine.
After you just shit on her music,
yeah,
all I said was that I didn't know who she was.
I disavow my earlier account of her
because that could get
career.
Back to her.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about her music. I just she got a lot of FaceTime there. Cynthia Erivo. This is somebody because Erivo. Holy shit! What a voice! What a performance!
Yeah, be good.
Oh my gosh, that was a highlight for me.
Yeah,
I mean, along with the other musical act that you know so well. And by the way, you can check our social for a rerun of Macon rapping the entire "Lose Yourself."
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah,
I do that 2-3 weeks ago, and then M pops onto the
steals
Oscars.
your thunder. It's like somebody's been watching the pod.
I think we can't rule it out.
We can't rule it out.
No, it doesn't steal my thunder. I was honored by it.
I am going to watch. By the way, another guy that I wanted to mention was Antonio Banderas. Did you see him?
I saw him.
He's actually aging.
And yeah,
he looks like somebody's granddad, which he should. I mean, he's 60. But who would have thought back when he was doing that one GIF that everybody uses on the internet? Young, good-looking dude with all that hair. The relief GIF, the I'm relieved GIF.
If I say yes, can we just move on?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Just looks so youthful. I would have thought he'd be the guy that would never look 60, but he looks 60.
I've got sources that say that Pain and Glory movie was good as well.
Really?
Yep.
So I'm going to watch I got to go to Africa next week. I go to Tanzania. That's my yearly trip. So I have a total of, almost 3 days of travel back and forth. I'm going to watch every nominated movie.
Do it.
And I'll do a little rundown. Maybe we'll do a little segment where I redo the Oscars one day. But that would probably bore you. See if you can watch every single movie in the next couple weeks.
I've been told to skip Marriage Story.
Okay. Don't know anything about that.
But, okay. Yeah, I'll take that on.
Best dressed real quick. Gal Gadot. She knocked it out of the park. Also, Margot Robbie. She had I don't know what you would call it right here, like a pendant. One of these.
Well, that's your sternum.
Yeah, she had a cool pendant going on there.
Okay.
I'm no fashionista, but I thought she was dressed really nicely.
Red carpet out of the blue here.
Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig, right? That's how you say that?
Yeah.
What did she look like? An organ?
An organ?
Like if you a kidney or a spleen, and I wasn't sure which one. It was. Did you see her dress?
Yeah, I saw her dress.
Yeah.
I haven't heard this take before.
Look up the dress.
Kind of looks like a red dress,
or a spleen, or a liver, or what I would imagine a liver or spleen would look like.
Okay.
What's up with that shape?
Yeah, I don't know.
What would you wear to the Oscars?
A tuxedo.
Really? Just
Yeah.
an old school tuxedo.
Well, not that old school. Let me tell you about it. It's going to be one of them shawl collars.
Yeah.
And I would go. Can you look at me?
Yeah, I'm getting ready for the XFL segment.
I would go dark gray here.
Yeah.
And then black shawl collar.
Okay.
A black pant.
Okay.
And that's what I would look like.
Okay. I don't know what I haven't decided yet.
The size of my bow tie would be perfectly sized.
Okay. I'm going to work on maybe what I would wear to the Oscars, because at some point we might have to. You can't win an Oscar for a podcast, can you?
I don't think so.
Oh, well, we need to look into that.
This podcast could perhaps be in a documentary of some sort.
Yeah, it could. Yeah,
day.
tease. Yeah, we've got some people in the building right now.
Shout out Mahanes. Well done.
They are documenting this for Virginia Sports.
Yeah, UVA. Yeah,
A couple of the best and the brightest from the aforementioned school running a podcast. So shout out to Virginia Sports for taking a hard look at what we do here at the Greenlight Studios.
What if it's just a hammer piece?
They're just like, this fucking podcast sucks. We went back to check up on two of our most distinguished alums, and they are wasting their life.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are 33, 34. Sorry to dox you.
Yeah, it's okay.
And they're doing a fucking podcast.
Yeah, this is going straight to career services.
It doesn't make a lot of money.
This is why you study hard.
Enough about the Oscars. We have some sports to talk about. We have Rob Ninkovich on the line here. Joining me on the Greenlight Pod, on the hotline, the Greenlight Hotline, we have a great guest in Rob Ninkovich. Rob Ninkovich, former Patriot, longtime Patriot, also Saints long snapper, little known fact. And then also NFL Live personality, ESPN analyst, and Chalk affiliate. Friend of the program, Rob Ninkovich. Thanks for joining me, bud.
Wow. I wish we have a round of applause for that intro. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I am happy to be with you and look forward to diving into a few topics. It'll be cool.
Well, I mean, the thing I didn't warn you about is I had you on to talk shit about the Patriots.
Oh, that's cool. I'm not a Patriot anymore, so I'll join you.
Well, how does Bill treat you when you come back around the facility? Does he treat you good now that you're part of the media?
I don't know. I really I mean, he's nice, I guess. I mean, I did run into him and he said, "Oh, there's everyone's All-American." I don't know what that means.
This means you're awesome. I think that's what that means. But
everyone thinks you're better than you really were.
Oh, God. Here we go.
I don't know, but I did text him. I had a nice text for his, the wins that he had, the 300 victories.
Yeah.
And he had a nice text back saying, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have these victories.
He's a nice texter. He is a nice texter.
He is. I would rather text than actually have a voice phone call.
I think he's awesome, and I also think it, like being as dry as he is, when you get a text from him, that's really nice. You're like, oh, this is great. I want to frame this text.
He always finishes with BB.
Yeah,
like you didn't know that's Bill.
Yeah, BB. Just in case you didn't save the greatest coach of all time in your phone.
So then I put RN.
Oh, do you?
So he knows.
It's good. Yeah, as if he needed that.
There's a misunderstanding of his personality because of the way he is with the media. I've seen him a lot. I mean, the first time I saw him after I retired, it was in New Orleans. He gave me a bear hug. So
yeah,
when you spend eight years with somebody and you have a relationship there, it's always nice to catch up with them. But I also know, just like many head coaches, the amount of hours that they work is just ridiculous. So I try not to bother. Matty P, I've texted him Happy Thanksgiving, Christmas time. He responds. So
yeah.
It's just tough with their schedule. I know that they, I think he works more than anybody.
Especially
in the whole
you
league.
mentioned those two guys, Matty P and Bill. They certainly don't give themselves any breaks. I saw Matt down at the Super Bowl. He had a Tommy Bahama shirt on. He was wearing shorts.
Yeah, he's going to turn into Andy Reid. With that look.
That's awesome.
Eventually, he's gonna shave his head down a little bit, do a number one all the way around, and.
Can we get our chalk team here to mock up what that might look like, and maybe we can add that in post? Do you ever wonder, as you break down football now on I don't have this problem really, because this podcast, we have 10,000 subscribers. That's nothing to scoff at, but it's not NFL Live. When you fire off your Patriots takes on NFL Live, do you sometimes wonder if Bill's sitting there in the facility with the TV on in his office and he's like, this motherfucker?
I don't even think he watches that stuff. So for me, I feel like whatever I say, I mean, honestly, you think Bill's watching NFL Live?
No, and if he is, you could say, hey, Bill, ignore the noise.
Yeah. I mean, he has his rules for the media. And now that I am a part of that, I'm sure he just laughs it off everybody else does. I can remember as a player listening to people be like, these guys don't know what the hell they're talking about. And I'm sure people are doing that to me now. That's fun.
A rite of passage. And this offseason, you are going to be a hot commodity because everybody wants to know what the hell is going on with the Patriots. Do you think that some of the guys that have been there 8-10 years aren't going to know what to do with all this free time? I mean, they were January, the first weekend of January, they're done. Does that present a different challenge?
I think they're going to enjoy it, honestly. The guys that have been here a long time, when you make those runs deep into the playoffs year after year after year after year, it can be very mentally exhausting. So, this year I know they came up short, but I'm sure those guys were like, let's get the heck out of here. Let's hit a beach or something. Let's go on vacation.
Yeah, they can't say that, but yeah.
You can't say that, but I'm telling you, I'm sure once that game was when they lost to the Titans and they were like, okay, this season, I need to go recharge my batteries. Sometimes that's huge for a team that's been constantly there,
Yeah.
A lot of these guys haven't had, they've had a Super Bowl, then April 15th, they start off-season program. So, I mean,
it's 60 days off a year. It's 60 days. It's and that makes a big difference between, having 90 plus and that 60. And you mentioned the not being good enough in all three phases. I would argue that, and most people would say, and there were reasons that they failed on defense and some of those weaknesses got exposed, especially in the Tennessee game. But offensively, how did it get here? The lack of offensive weapons, was it an overcorrection to losing to the Eagles in 17 and, getting beat on defense and Bill saying that's not going to happen again? Or was it kind of an unintentional, accidental dwindling of weaponry?
I mean, I think that whole thing was unintentional with, when you look at the offense this year, the lack of weapons. They surely weren't expecting Rob to ride off into the sunset.
Really?
So
you think they were blindsided by that?
I think that they might have had an idea that he was thinking about it, but I don't think, when it comes down to it, as a football player, that decision, I know you know this, is very, very difficult to know when I'm walking away, on my terms. It's definitely tougher than when, like for me, it was like, man, I go out now, I'll never, ever strap it up again. I'll never put pads on, but I know I can do it.
Yeah.
That's a tough decision when you walk away like that.
Yes.
So I think that they might have been betting on, okay, he's having these thoughts, but maybe through the off season, he'll start to feel better. And, we offer him a little bit of cash, maybe he'll stick around, and he was just totally over it. So, I think that losing Gronk is huge. And then, they got their first round ever draft pick as a wide receiver. They tried to draft a guy as high as they ever have. And it's tough for a rookie to come in and be successful. Like Tom, his offense is very advanced. It's not easy to play for. And then as a rookie on top of it, you double your length of the season. I mean, just imagine that mentally. It was just probably insane. Then he had an injury in the preseason with N'Keal Harry having to deal with an injury. So you don't have really that guy. The Josh Gordon stuff didn't work out. AB didn't work out. So, I mean, they had an opportunity to have a big, quick receiving corps. I mean, you think about if you had Julian Edelman, Antonio Brown, Josh Gordon, and Harry.
Yeah. To me, it seems like there was a lot of, it wasn't so much building towards an offense, and certainly like maybe too many eggs in the Gronk basket, but how could you not? He's one of the best football players I've ever seen play. And, a lot of your offense is going to center around him. But, it didn't seem like there was a lot of contingency planning. It seemed like it was Gordon is a Band-Aid. Antonio's a Band-Aid. We are seemingly scrapping the playbook and drafting a first-round wide receiver in Harry, who got hurt. And, of course, when you're a rookie, it's one thing to go somewhere and hide, which usually you get to do on good teams. You're going to contribute, but there's a lot of support around you. There was an unnecessary amount of pressure for him to pick up the entire offense this year, even when he came back. It was like they had to force the ball to him to try to get something going. It just didn't seem like they had a plan offensively. And I'm talking about a large-scale plan. You can't ignore the Devlin injury either. But
I think that was one of the biggest injuries of the season for them. But on the flip side of that, for me, I look at the previous year when they did win the Super Bowl. They basically had a similar offense with production-wise in the passing game, and then they just decided, okay, we're going to get into heavy personnel and we're going to run the football. And all these teams that couldn't stop the run just were getting crushed. And then you mix in the play-action pass, and then there you go. So, I think their offense had struggled the year that they even won the Super Bowl, and, things just happened to fall in place for them with who they played. And, they played the Chargers, who couldn't stop the run. They travel all the way across the country after having a couple trips across the country, basically had no juice, get their asses beat. And then the Chiefs game, you look at that game, they couldn't stop anybody in the running game.
Yep.
And then that was their Achilles heel. Basically should have won that game, but they had an offside. So the Patriots last year, you think about it, I mean, they were one offside away from not making it, and a PI
and a lot of really great third down conversions to Jules in that game. In the Kansas City game, very unlikely conversions. So I guess
they're one flag away from playing the Saints, and Saints versus Patriots.
That would have been a bad matchup.
Drew Brees and yes, so like Drew Brees is the smartest guy on the field. Would you be able to run the same look and blitz like they did Goff over and over again, and him not know what's going on, or scramble out of the pocket and take a 20-yard sack as opposed to just underhanding, flipping it out of bounds and not having those negative losses. It was 3rd and 2 that he took a 15-yard sack. At 4th and 2, that's a little bit more attainable.
So I guess you're looking at this. You're looking at this.
It was a perfect storm.
You're looking at this thing and you're saying it's less about this year as it is about, like, listen, they've been trending this way and some things fell apart for them. but it's not that big of a drop-off from 2 years ago. And they were lucky enough to win a Super Bowl and good enough to win a Super Bowl, but there were some things that they overcame, some deficiencies they overcame, and then they lose Gronk, and, we mentioned Devlin. Free agency, they're going to have to address some things, namely the tight end position, at least in the draft or in free agency. Are there, on the intake side of things, with signing free agents, and this is a twofold question. One, who are you looking at signing if you're the Patriots? What areas do you have to address? And two, and I'm talking offensively especially, and two, do you think that we're at the point now where free agents are less apt to join the Patriots if they're ring chasing, or you have less of that guaranteed possibility of playing late in the year now? It doesn't feel the same as when I signed there, or when certain other guys have signed there in the past few years.
Well, I think it's going to be vital that they try and keep some of their leaders, as far as Slater, who is a special teams leader. You look at McCourty, who is, the secondary defensive leader that helps everybody get lined up in the right spots. I think that's a very vital position. I don't think they're going to be able to bring it back to Noy because he's going to be overpriced. And, we know the Patriots don't want to overpay for anybody. They like to find those veteran guys who they explain to them, look, you're a veteran, and I don't know how many more bites of the apple you got. You're in a house, and you got kids in school. Like, why don't you just stick around? And they're able to land those guys. But I think Jamie, he was on the finders keepers season, so
yeah,
he's gonna go try and make as much as he can. He's not gonna take a discount. I don't think Kyle's gonna take a discount. So those two guys, I think they're gone. They're gonna try and figure out, what they're gonna do with Hightower. I know his cap number is pretty high. So if you lose High, that's a key piece. Like I'm saying, if they try to, negotiate differently with his contract, and he doesn't want to do that, that could be a little bit of friction.
Yeah.
You look at Tom, if he makes $30 million a year, which, I think he's going to get that from other teams north of 30. So if they're capped, you got to look, if Tom does not come back,
yeah,
they're going to be able to go and sign a lot of guys because they won't have such a huge cap hit, so.
Yeah, but without Tom there, while that's all going on, people have to contend with the notion that Tom's not there anymore. So they might have more room, but the attractiveness of, New England as a free agent destination, because let's be honest, like, it's a great place, great fans, Boston's a great city, all that stuff. But, let's not act like it's Los Angeles or Miami or, some destination that's cushy for people. To deal with the weather, to deal with the fact that you're going to be living in Foxborough, to deal with the fact that you're going to have to work harder there than a lot of places, that Tom Brady effect matters for guys that are arriving in free agency.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that if Tom is gone, it's going to be really hard for them to go out and actually find guys that want to come to New England. That's the attraction, is knowing that Tom's there. If you're a receiver, you don't want to catch passes from Stidham. You want to catch passes from Tom Brady, and you understand that whole motor is run by Tom. That whole mechanism is working through Tom. So it's going to be, if they don't sign him back, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to get any type of big time receiver. Unless they go out and they get like a Rivers or somebody that's respectful that people want to go play for. But I just think that it's going to be really tough if Tom does take off for them to have the same attraction. I mean, look, if Tom was gone and you were a free agent, like, you wouldn't be thinking,
no, not unless the money's great and it's a perfect football fit. It stops becoming that place where you can go and win. It starts becoming a really good program with a really good head coach that's got some established, but there's a big question mark if he's gone. One thing before we get to the what ifs and the hypotheticals of Tom's movement, you're looking at a guy like Devin McCourty, who's been there his whole career, right? He's a free agent, and I'm not singling out him. But you mentioned Van Noy and Jamie, who seem like the candidates to go get their money, right? Guys that you talk about Kyle. He wants to prove that he's a real rusher, and he's not a system guy. And I know that he wants to get paid probably. Jamie Collins, he came back for a year. That had to be disappointing to see that it wasn't the automatic, hey, let me go get that ring that I missed out on the first time around. You got a guy like Devin who's been there his whole career, who hasn't been getting – I mean, he got paid, right? So maybe he's not the best example, but these lifetime Patriots, and you were one that you've always said, like, what would have been like hitting the market for guys that are hitting it for the first time and looking back in their own house, in New England, and they're saying – it's not in order like it usually is. Maybe I should just go get the money. How much of that do they have to combat? The guys just want to get paid for the first time.
Yeah, well, I think the NFL as a whole has changed because guys, they're not going to take less because we all realize the effects, and we all know that when you play a long time, football's not good for you. So I think guys now are more. They're more influenced by, their families, by science, by all these things that are saying, look, you got to get it now. You got to get it while you're young. And if you can get it, then you can leave early. You can kind of go out on your own terms early. I think you're not going to see a linebacker play 15 years anymore, 10 plus. I think guys are going to try and get paid early and bow out before they hit that 12-year mark even.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about Tom Brady, of course. In about a month now, he's in free agency. There's rumors about where he's going. We've heard them all. A lot of them involve going out west. Where do you think he's going if you had to play the field here? We're not saying he's leaving, but is he leaving? And if he's leaving, what's your best bet?
This one's tough. So, Tom is very smart. He understands marketing and his brand and TB12 and all the things that go through with that. So just like the Hulu commercial, right?
It's unbelievable. He had me fooled.
A cryptic message of, is he walking in or walking out? And then, boom, you see a Hulu commercial in the Super Bowl. You're like, that's what that was.
You rich motherfucker.
So, yeah, like, how much did you get for that one? Take less, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
I think at this point right now, he's 42, going to be 43 in this season, realizing that he needs to have the weapons. He needs to have the offensive line. He needs to have some receivers. So that's why you're hearing, he wants the Patriots to go get a lot of people, or he needs the pieces there. And I think a little bit of that is control, because in the Patriots way of doing things, I don't think Tom really has any say in who comes and who goes. I think that they're in a system and they do things a certain way. And, you're so good. Tom's so good. Go make it work. Go make it work with everybody that we have. And I think if you look in the past of his career, he's made certain teams work really, really well with not a lot of talent around him. So, I think he's just at a point now where he knows he only has a couple of years left. One, he'll probably sign two, but I don't know, like one at a very high level. He could play at a high level still. So he wants to go out and he wants to have that 2007, Moss and Welker and just that air attack that he had when he had all those guys. I think hypothetically, if I was like Miami and I have 3 first-round picks, that's all down the drain now because they signed Chan Gailey. OC, I think. Yeah, like 105 years old, the combined age of Chan Gailey and Fitzpatrick. 105. Think about that.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So, he's not going to go there because of that coordinator. It's not happening. So before they signed him, I was like, if you're Miami, if I was Flo, I'd say, look, we got 3 first-round picks. Mm-hmm. What do you want to do with this? We got $100+ million in cap. Like, what do you want to do, Tom? Yeah. We're going to give you the keys here. You go pick what you want. You go, pick the produce, so to speak, so you can make your meal up nice. And that's out the drain. So, or down the drain. Sorry, that's out the window.
Yeah, out the window, down the drain.
That's out the window, down the drain. It's down.
It can be both.
The window is down the drain.
Yeah,
okay?
It is.
That's what it is. So when I look at what's out there right now, that there's teams like Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Like Tennessee, like Tampa, like the Colts that have a certain appeal to them. I don't think he's going to the Colts either. My top pick for him would be either Vegas or Tennessee. And when I say Vegas, you also have to think about this. Like, this is a business. This isn't, teams just like, oh, let's get Tom Brady. It's how do we sell out our stadium in one signing? How do we sell out every suite?
Yeah.
Howie Long.
Yeah. Exactly.
How do we sell out every Howie? What's up, Howie Jr.? How do we
shout
sell
out to
out
Howie
every
Jr.
single
selling tickets
Howie
for the Vegas
Jr.
Raiders, PSLs.
Call
him.
Seats, baby.
I would list his number on here, but I don't have it, like his office number. But he's selling those tickets like they're hotcakes. And yeah, I mean, to your point, the Vegas thing.
If Vegas signed Tom, so say Vegas gave Tom a 2-year, $70 million contract. So they gave him $35 million guaranteed, $35 million for 2 years, making him one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Would that investment make their money back? I think it would.
Yes.
I think them signing him, that would make all that money plus some back in sales, suite sales, jerseys, because every single, and I'll put this out there too, I don't care if you're a diehard Patriot fan, if Tom Brady goes to another place, they're going to get his jersey because they're Tom Brady fans too.
Yeah. Should be. We'll find out. If they're not, that'd be pretty fucked.
So, but if he does go to Vegas, me and you, week 1, are going to be there, front row.
I like it. We can talk to Paige and we get to talk to Paige and Meg, or does this count as
they can come with.
They
can come with, but they can't be at the game with us. Cool. They can be in the hotel.
Okay.
And it's just me and you at the game. But we got to be front row on the Raiders bench side, and we're going to have his jersey on.
I love it. Presumably
like
it's 12. Do you think he wears 12 if he goes to Vegas, or you think it's another number?
12. Yeah, he won't change.
Strictly 12.
He won't change. 12 or 10. He might go to 10.
Yeah, because that was 12. Michigan, right?
That was Michigan, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. A little callback there, but I mean, we've got Vegas, and I like that option. You have a lot of weapons. You have a good offensive line. You have a team that seems, on one side of the ball ready to win. Now, defensively, they have to improve. But to your point, that sells out the stadium. That's a big focus. In Tennessee, I think football-wise is a great fit. Do they want to forego franchising Tannehill? It's kind of a lot of this stuff is kind of a musical chairs thing, and Brady's not quite at the level right now where I think people will make decisions around him universally. I don't think every team is going to just hand the keys over to him. 5-7 years ago it would have been like, hey, drop everything. I don't care who's playing quarterback. I don't know what's going on in Tampa, and I think that's more relevant in the Phillip Rivers conversation. Indy. But I think Tennessee would be a really good football fit. I used to be on the Miami train. Of course, the Chan Gailey thing has thrown me off the scent a little bit there with Brady, but I think Tennessee and Vegas would be really good options for him. Also think the Chargers would be a great option, but and I think 6-1 are the odds on Brady being the day one starter. He's up towards the top there when you look at the odds for the Chargers starting quarterback week 1. Why not L.A.?
I think that L.A., when you look at, they are moving into that new stadium, and they're going to be sharing that with some other teams. But I think that scene, I mean, it makes sense for TB12. It really does to bring that out there and have another TB12 franchise out there. But I just think that when you think about that fan base, and when he goes to LA, he's been there, he's had a house there. They sold that because they didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. I think they've been there, done that, and I think they're kind of over that whole LA scene.
That's what I heard. And that's counterintuitive because they're so famous, but they're not really they're mysterious people, man. Like Tom, it's amazing to me. You mentioned the brand and everything. You could not meet a more down-to-earth, chill dude who's a superstar and going to be your teammate, but also equally mysterious. And you hear whisperings that they don't like LA, but it makes no sense to me because they're so. You would think the brand, what they would leave on the table by not going to LA would be just astronomical money wise off the field.
Yeah, well, but then you also have to look at coaching. Does Tom mix well with the coaches there?
Yep.
I think that the Vegas thing. That works out because I think Tom has respect for Gruden and, the whole tuck rule thing, all that stuff coming back. I said this, you need 3 things. number one, you need protection. So because he's 42 years old, he'll be 43, you need a great offensive line.
Yeah.
When I look at offensive lines, I think, whenever you have Trent Brown as your tackle, that's a good offensive line.
I think you missed him.
Yes, definitely. So, Oakland has a good offensive line. Tennessee has a good offensive line. Then number two is running game. You look at Oakland last year, they were a good running team until they had an injury at the running back position. You look at Tennessee, obviously he's up, but they can figure something out there to where he gets back. If they sign Tom, they need him. They need that 1-2 punch as a running game. And then you got to go with coaching. So Vrabel, having an experience with Tom, they're friends. They go to the Derby together every year. I know that they have a good relationship, so that might potentially be a good fit. And then you look at Gruden being an old school coach, but probably having an infatuation with Brady and the success that he's had for 20 years.
Yeah.
I think that coaches have a respect and they fall in love with stuff like that. So that is easy for somebody in free agency to say, I don't care what I got to do. I want Tom Brady.
Well, it'll be interesting to see where Tom ends up. I think I do think he's still got it. I think one thing that got lost in the shuffle, even as much as we talked about it, was just how bad the Patriots were offensively this year. We spent a lot of time talking about how bad the Eagles were offensively because of the injuries. And I know I did, having played in Philly, but having played in New England as well. I've seen how just in my 1 year there and watching the past few years, just how much the talent level offensively has dwindled, and it hurts the quarterback. So wishing Tom the best of luck. We will get his jersey wherever he is. You want to make a deal now that wherever he is week 1, we get the jersey and maybe fly out there?
Yeah, let's do it because I want whatever jersey he's rocking.
Do you think?
Unless it's a Patriot jersey.
Do you think Tom will give us post game passes and we get to come see him?
I think so. I think Tom likes me.
I think Tom likes me too. He gave me a hug. I saw him at the Super Bowl. It was cool.
Yeah, he responds to my text. He responds to my Instagram messages. He responds
to my from my U.S. mail to my fan mail. I knock on his window at night. He's like, don't be creepy, Rob.
I think he likes me. So I would hope that we could get passes.
Okay, good.
Anything that he's involved with.
All right, good. So we'll try to get some post game passes and see Tom week 1 wherever he is. Rob Ninkovich, thanks for joining us on Greenlight, and we'll catch you soon. Keep an eye out for some chalk content that my man might be involved in down the line here. Already did a podcast with Giardi, really loved that, so we're going to try to get that going again in a couple weeks here once things speed up in the NFL offseason again, and more content from Rob. So thanks for joining us, Rob.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
All right,
good, man.
See you.
Jeff Brom, how in the world are you starting this game tonight after taking that hit just 6 days ago?
Well, let me answer that question by asking you 2 questions. One, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. 2, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
So the Jeff Brom video, always one of my favorites anyways, just goes to show you how barbaric football was at the turn of the century before any of the the player safety stuff started to really happen. The XFL, their whole marketing strategy 2001 when they got started up was, let's see how edgy we can be, how big the hits can be, how dangerous this sport can appear. It's already dangerous. You don't need to make it any more dangerous than it is. But that Jeff Brom video is basically a caricature of what the XFL was the first go-around. Now, the second go-around, it looks a lot different. And I think that's a good thing. Number one, they got more funding. Vince McMahon has more money than God. He's going to ensure that at least it gets a fair shake here. They ran out of money the first time. So again, it's back. I think it's 8 teams, 10-game season. We talked about it with Kurt Menefee last pod, some of the exciting rule changes, etc. But now that we have a weekend of a sample size to look at, I think it was a success. I think all things considered, it had people talking. It was rated relatively high. It was the weekend's top 4 sporting events for viewers aged 18 to 49 were the XFL games this weekend. The real test is going to be week 2, though. I'll tell you why in a minute. But, some figures here. Defenders Seattle game it had TV viewership of 3.3 million. Now, that's interesting to note. It's the same as the AAF opener in 2019. And, the viewership peaked in the final 15 minutes of the game, maybe due to the gambling or maybe due to the rule alterations in the final 2 minutes. Maybe it was just the time of the day. It was one of those things where none of these games were that exciting. None came down to like the wire per se. But people seemed to be very interested in it. Ticket sales were good. They were hovering in the 17,000s range. All the games, in fact, were in like 1,000 tickets sold of each other. Mostly smaller stadiums, except for I think New York. And people noticed that, it's better to have these smaller stadiums and get them packed full to, look like there's some real atmosphere at these games rather than like a bigger stadium and just the lower bowls full. You might look at 2001 and say, hey, listen, they averaged, 23,000 in attendance about 20 years ago, but that's not taking the market change into account. There's a ton of different ways to watch the game now that are driving people away from stadiums, even with the affordability of these XFL tickets. 17 is pretty good. So I know they want to grow that. They just seem more prepared the second time around. Much more money, I mentioned. But the key part, and I alluded to this, the game it's less gimmicky. There's a ton of rule changes, but not a lot of them are just done for effect. They're really aiming at putting out more of a respectable product. This is less of a wrestling product, and it's still football. You heard a lot of the coaches and players talk about that. There's rule changes, but they're kind of cool rule changes on the field or with the viewing experience. And it's still at the end of the day, it's ball. One big thing is the XFL had ticket salespeople in these cities working full time, I think as early as last summer. And you look at that in comparison to the AAF, they didn't have these positions filled until weeks before the open. So you could see why they're a little bit more buttoned up. They're a little bit more staffed out. And, if you look at the Dragons and the Battlehawks, they sold the most season tickets, and that's, of course, Seattle and St. Louis. Seattle, they always kill it, like whatever they do. I mean, the Sounders, they have a packed house all the time, it seems like, with soccer. The Seahawks, they always fill the house. You kind of wish there was still basketball there. I know they got a lot of great baseball fans up there. I don't know as much about baseball. But it's no surprise to me that the Dragons sold a lot of season tickets, even with the Seahawks up there. Now, the Battlehawks, they're a St. Louis team, and obviously I played there 8 years. I know that I was interested to see, one, if they would get an XFL team, two, if they'd be able to sell out or sell a bunch of tickets. And they're actually playing at the old Edward Jones Dome, which is going to be weird to see folks playing there in the XFL. And they've sold a ton of tickets. I think it's great. And the tickets have been reasonable. In DC, for instance, they were $100 to $500 for season tickets. I mean, that's nothing. $24 to $120 for a single game. So really affordable because the NFL has priced a lot of fans out, and I know that's a soft spot they're trying to hit. And it also, when you compare the TV deals and the planning to what the AAF did last year, AAF came out like gangbusters, and they went away after that CBS opening as far as their television presence. TNT, CBS Sports, Bleacher Report streaming, that's what they kind of wrote out the rest of the year on. XFL is going to be on Fox, ABC, ESPN for much of the year. That's going to keep them relevant. And the football was just fine. I mean, it wasn't as unpredictable as college, and it wasn't as polished as the NFL. And that's something they'll have to find their groove with. But, one of the, I guess, if you looked at the first weekend and counted disappointments, it wasn't as high scoring as the league predicted or quite as fast. I mean, they talked about this 34-28 score, which was kind of like the ideal score, the prediction, and around an hour and a half quicker, around about 25 minutes quicker than an NFL game. So if the NFL game's north of 3 hours, inching toward 3:15 or whatever it is, The XFL was like 245. So, they said it would be high scoring. 34-28 was kind of the model. Quicker than the NFL games. 5 out of 8 teams scored less than 20 points, and the games were 10 minutes slower than the goal, but still came in quicker than the average NFL game. So when it came to scoring, only one team hit the total of 50.5 points, and that was I forget. I think it was the Dragons game. But there wasn't a 300-yard pass, so there wasn't a 100-yard rusher, and people still had a good time. And they did a lot of stuff right, including when you're talking about gambling in the XFL, it's a twofold conversation. One being that they're doing the right thing and including the lines on TV, the totals on TV. You've got announcers talking about the over under at the end of games, all that stuff. But this just goes to show you how naked Vegas is here. Uncharacteristically, the lines were all way off, all way off. The Renegades and the Vipers were the favorites to win the league according to Vegas, and neither team scored a touchdown this weekend. And the Renegades lost to the predicted bottom dwellers in the Battlehawks. So, by the way, shout out again to the St. Louis Battlehawks. They had the highest rating, TV rating locally in the nation, as good as like Blues games over the weekend. So, actually bested the Blues games over the weekend. So, St. Louis still hungry for football. And you had stars. You had Cardell Jones. You had, he played great. P.J. Walker stole the show, 4 touchdowns for Houston. You had big plays. You had some good pass rushes. The O-line play was good enough. It wasn't like any of the quality of football was terrible. Even the quarterback play was good enough, to put a product out there that people would watch. And more than anything, I think the play here with the XFL, as we all know, is chaos and freshness. And you had some chaos and you had freshness that isn't just the sake of doing something new. Like there are ideas that the NFL should probably look hard at, even if you know that they won't. Because adopting elements of the XFL would concede a lack of like inherent superiority, or we got our shit together. We don't lower ourselves to like pluck from the XFL. Well, the NFL would be wise to look at some of these rule changes. One of my favorite things is the transparency, though, the real-time drama. I mean, you've got, I'm watching one game, a quarterback is like tossing other guys under the bus, talking about headsets and routes, after a bad play, and the coach is kind of looking at him funny, and his teammates are kind of laughing. And, these are the stressful situations that bring out the best of the worst in guys, and you get to see them on national TV. So it sucks for the players in some ways, but it's what they signed up for. And, we've got Diana Rossini interviewing a kicker after he missed a 35-yarder. So that's not that fun to get a microphone stuck in your face after your worst play of the day. There was also a guy that downed a Marquette King punt in the end zone accidentally. What happened was, and everybody saw this, but not everybody saw it in real time, was the guy covering the punt, and Marquette King boomed this beautiful punt. He was the former Raiders and Broncos punter, I think it was. He punted the ball about like 80 yards, and the ball's rolling into the end zone, and the coverage team's right down there to down it. This one dude just frantically dives on it and rolls in the end zone. So it's a touchback, which, by the way, that brings the ball out to 35, not the 20 in the XFL. People were like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Well, he got to tell his side of the story immediately after to Pat McAfee, who's down there doing the interviews, who, by the way, is paired really nicely with the XFL brand, edgy enough, kind of a little bit more buttoned down. And he's like, dude, I thought the guy muffed it. And when you look back at the replay, it certainly appeared that the guy muffed it. But, in most situations, some of the less perceptive fans might not be able to hear that guy, might not be able to identify that. I saw some players being like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Well, then you get a microphone in the guy's face right afterwards and you hear exactly what happened. You also got, interviews when guys had big plays too. So like, you get to see the raw emotion, the excitement when a player does something great, including one guy, Elijah Qualls, who I used to play with, who owes me $300, who's owed me $300 for like going on 2 years now. And I always bust his balls about, hey man, if you ever make it big, I'm going to tell everybody you owe me money. And so I'm sitting there watching my first XFL game, and this guy makes a great play, and he comes over the sideline, and we're here with Elijah Qualls now. And I'm like, this motherfucker, he owes me $300. So I'm like, I'm like, hey, Diana. I hit Diana up. I'm like, tell Elijah Qualls he owes me $500. I thought we used to play pool, and we used to bet on pool when he was in Philly, and he got released. He still owed me money, and Elijah's response was, "It's only $300." So I'm watching my first XFL game. I see buddies I played with, people I knew from the league. I'm seeing people with microphones in their face after bad plays. I'm seeing guys with microphones in their face after good plays. A guy cussed in an interview, not a big deal. You hear that all the time on mic booms, but to hear a guy cuss on live TV, just part of the unpredictability of it. You have cameras and audio in the room at the half, in the booth, in the review process. That was maybe my favorite thing. Even though I think for some fans, you're just seeing the coach speak when they have a guy up in the booth, like, I'll do 34 ace right, boom, or something like you're like, I don't know what that is. And for me, I can take a guess at what some of these offensive plays are, but I know that these coaches aren't necessarily going to play along and break it down like in Madden terms, like dive right. But what's cool is you get to see the process for fans. It's not just the terminology. You might have an inclination of where the play is going, but the cool part is you get to see the sequencing, how the play's laid out, and how it comes down, and you get to see behind the scenes. And for me as a player, I was on the sideline, so I didn't get to see that stuff unless I'm watching like Hard Knocks or something. And the fact that you get to see it in real time is pretty cool. Also, the fact that Jim Zorn joked about this. He's like, we're gonna have to go on just numbers off the wristband. The quarterback's gonna have a wristband, and we're just gonna do numbers, like call number 18 or something, and that's the play, because we don't want people to be able to self-scout us. People are going to watch TV copies. We do that in the NFL, where we watch TV copies to hear what the quarterback is saying, like keywords, like, okay, so Peyton or you might have Eli. Every D lineman knows Omaha was like, let's set go, or they were like blue. Certain quarterbacks had verbiage that when they said these things, the ball was coming, or it was a check. And believe it or not, we used to scout not just the end zone copy, but the TV copy to hear different terms. Now you're having the TV copy include like play verbiage, signals, the whole nine, including what's out on the field. So, Pep Hamilton talked about the fact that there's going to be a ton of TV copy scouting, and you're going to have to do some self-scouting. You're going to have to change your terminology, your signals even more than you did in an NFL season. So I think it's cool. Not just the coaches in the booth, but also the review process. You really hear the officials talking, calls out in real time. And I think that's great. I don't know why the NFL wouldn't do that. I know everything's about covering their ass, but it's not like the officiating process hasn't been the laughingstock. So it can only get better. What'd be wrong with sticking a microphone in there and letting officials talk it out in front of the world? It's not like a player's getting that protection. We have a bad play. It's for the world to see. I think that officials, if they had a chance to do it in front of the world, could not only show some transparency, but also illustrate how hard it is to get a call right, and people might appreciate them more. So you had guys chugging seltzers in St. Louis when they won that game, which doesn't seem like it's real fun. I hope they were cold. You had a streaker who looked like he was on penis pills. This guy was just, I don't know what the hell was going on with him. You had a fan eating cheese, like death stare to the camera. He's just the perfect XFL fan, just eating Kraft singles like a fucking serial killer, staring into the abyss. You had a player puke, obviously the first game. I'm not sure what the curfew situation is like. Also, I'm not sure they have a full NFL training camp. I don't know how in shape the guys are. Or maybe the guy just had some food poisoning. I had some food poisoning this past weekend, by the way. It's brutal. Gilbride had 2 headphones. That was one of the more memorable things that I saw this weekend. And even the Pepper Johnson firing after one game for LA. And then subsequently, the team captain, Anthony Johnson, who I played with, Kimbo, what everybody called him, who's a badass football player. tweeting that he's now a free agent. I think it had something to do with the Pepper Johnson firing. And I don't know what happened with that Pepper Johnson firing, but this is all chaos. Like, I just feel like this is XFL stuff. And if you have the right amount of XFL stuff, it keeps it interesting. But the rules are the really cool part. The ball spotting, you have one official that sole job is to spot the ball, get that thing to the line of scrimmage, get it set. There's no time to waste. The kick return, everybody loved that. It's safer. Everybody's seen it by now. The returners or the return team and the coverage team are lined up like 5 yards apart on the returner side of the field. And it's kind of like an offensive play. Bob Stoops likened it to like, an outside zone play or a stretch. You're basically running different plays out of this amended kickoff alignment. And the key here is that 91% of the kicks being returned is a far cry from the NFL. And it's safer. That's the big deal. Remember, again, the XFL was the Jeff Brom XFL in 2001. This league is kind of making some changes to eliminate some really nasty collisions and do some of the things that the NFL is focusing on doing, but doing it at a faster click because the NFL is too scared to do away with something like the kickoff because it's so iconic. XFL, there's no tradition there. We can try some shit like that. And again, you still got a 59-yard return this weekend. There's a 60% chance of nothing ever happening on an NFL kickoff. 91%, again, of kicks being returned in the XFL. That's better. That's an improvement. And, again, you have 6 guys on offense, and they're all skill guys with the headset, so they hear the plays. 6 guys on defense as well have the headset. I would imagine it's not D linemen, but I sure would have liked to have been able to hear the play in my ear rather than turning around and screaming at James Laurinaitis for 8 years in the Edward Jones Dome or confused as shit in New England. There's 15 checks. I'm like, yelling at Hightower to get me the check. And then, of course, in Philly, it was very simple. It was just like the same fucking thing over and over again. Another one is the clock runs and it continues to run unless it's under 2 minutes. So the way I understand it from watching is they're not trying to stop the clock for much, but every play matters under 2 minutes, and that's a nice little wrinkle. Coaches have 2 timeouts per half, and halftime is 10 minutes. Players would love that in the NFL. Coaches maybe not so much. They have a lot to say. I would rather us not even go to the locker room in the NFL. So 10 minutes is nice. No coin toss. Home team decides it. Visitors decide OT, and OT is pretty cool. Haven't seen one yet, but 5 one-play possessions from the 5-yard line, and you keep playing until someone's mathematically eliminated. It's pretty damn cool. And also the touchdown thing, the extra point. You can go for 1, 2, or 3. I think it's like from the 2-yard line, the 5-yard line, like the 10-yard line for 3. And on the weekend, it's funny because there was all this analytics talk about the best thing to go for is 2, which I agree with. But still, well over half went for 1, 11 of 18. The rest went for 2, and 0 went for 3. Now, the 3-point thing comes into play with the 12-point lead, because you're like, I score a touchdown, and I could just kick it. Or not kick it, sorry, there's no kicking it, go for 1 or 2, or I could, and if I'm me and I'm down 12, I'm definitely going to score and then go for 3 to get it to a field goal game. So interesting wrinkle there. It makes certain leads and deficits more interesting, and of course the 25-second play clock rather than the 40 is a nice touch there to keep the game sped up. Speed goal fell a little bit short. 10 minutes short of the forecast, but the same amount of plays as the NFL, but 10 minutes shorter of a game. So that pace is definitely, it's not for nothing. And then there were celebrities, like for week 1. I mean, listen, there was the game in Dallas alone had Kyler Murray because he went to high school down there. You had Steve Spurrier because he's down there watching his son Scott, I think, coaching the Renegades. And then Troy Aikman, of course, there to support Moose Johnson, who's affiliated with the league. And then there was the big Twitter buzz. In fact, it felt like XFL took over Twitter. And I feel like the XFL is made for Twitter. It really is, because it's like one big reality TV show. It's imperfect. The way I've said before that like Phillip Rivers is like perfect for Twitter because he's imperfect. He just does shit sometimes where you're like, that's relatable. I do that in my personal life, or I do that, and I'm not a football player. I do really irrational things, impulsive things. The XFL is unpredictable. It's chaos. It reminds us of like our life. It's not perfect like the NFL, all buttoned up. Mistakes are made, and you've got a microphone in everybody's face, and you have, audio and microphones and for the halftime speech and all that stuff. The access is what's going to keep this thing alive more than anything. And Twitter loves access. That's why they love reality TV. People will live tweet The Bachelor on Twitter, and I'm convinced that if it weren't for Twitter, nobody would watch. Well, a lot less people would be watching The Bachelor. Twitter is this kind of this room, this atmosphere where you love to see kind of this reality TV thing, and this is football on reality TV. It's seemingly real. It's unpredictable. And the NFL game's kind of high quality, clean, and corporate. We all love it. But the XFL is kind of like, a perfect dive bar. You don't know what's going to happen. If the NFL is like this upscale martini bar, the NFL is a dive bar where it's fucking, or the XFL is a dive bar where it's kind of unpredictable. You could also liken it to the NFL being this, drop dead gorgeous, perfect 10. I don't do the whole rating thing. I'm sorry. Instagram model with nothing going on upstairs. Complacent, beautiful, shiny, really cool, full stadiums. And when the NFL leaves town for a couple months, you get the young, hungry, rough around the edges girl who likes to have fun, girl next door. That's the XFL, and that's and the kicker is that the girl next door is actually safer than the Instagram model. The kickoff stuff, some of the other safety rules. So don't get too complacent, NFL, you Instagram model. Not that there's anything wrong with Instagram models. I could get in trouble. People could come for me and cancel me because I'm liking the NFL doing an Instagram model. But the XFL is kind of that. It's a wild card. And, it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to. It just has to be spontaneous. It has to be. It has to not take itself too seriously. And it has to be fun. And I think that we've got at least it's a start. I don't think it won't be a threat to the NFL ever. But I think there'll be enough demand for the transparency that we see as a value now. Especially 20 years after 2001. It's hard to compare that failure to this go round. So the real test, though, as I mentioned, is week 2. In 2001, the AAF, or in 2001, the XFL, and then in 2019, the AAF dropped 50% in the ratings week 2. So this is the big test. I'm not saying that you're out of the woods if week 2 they nail it again, but for all the reasons I mentioned, I think they're better prepared than they were the first time around, and then the AAF was last week. And I hope it passes. I think Macon is out on the XFL from some of these nonverbal cues. But I hope it passes. We all need football. I feel a little bit depressed when the season ends because you're just like, listen, college basketball is great, NBA is great, but we live for the tournament. We live for the NBA playoffs. That's at least me. I can watch some college basketball here and there. It's hard for me to watch regular season NBA as a Knicks fan. There's nothing that I really care enough about. I'm not going to lie. I'll watch it to keep up, but football fills the void. Nice to have something predictable on your Saturday and Sunday. You know what time it is. Kurt Menefee mentioned that. And I'll be excited to see a team playing in the Edward Jones Dome coming up. It's not this week. They travel to Houston. I'll be excited to see Seattle host the game. I want to see what that atmosphere is like. They pack just about any house again. And you have one game in New York City that was played at the most questionable venue this week, so it can only improve that way. You're not going to see that every week. And LA is going to be hosting a game. Maybe they won't have to go on silent count like the Chargers have in the past, or like we got the Rams too when the Eagles fans, the Eagles faithful took over the Coliseum. Interesting to start thinking about who you'd want to see play in the XFL. That might be a segment next week. You know, I want to draft a team of guys who are not in the NFL anymore, and petition for them to join the XFL. I'm thinking like a Marshawn Lynch type, just guys I want to keep seeing play. James Laurinaitis, Herschel Walker. You like to see Herschel Walker? I mean, fuck, for enough money, I might do it. Really, like no training, and as I know, I'd just get my block knocked off if I didn't train. But for the right amount of money, if a GoFundMe swelled enough for charity, I might go get my ass kicked and play one game with no practice in the XFL. Okay, so are you swayed on the XFL?
In the words of Larry David, I could give a fuck about the XFL.
Oh my gosh. That's what it took. 28 podcasts, and it took the XFL to get you to cuss.
Hey, saturation point is defined as the stage beyond which no more of something can be absorbed or accepted.
Right.
After college football and the NFL, I've had enough.
You've had enough.
Yeah. Hit me back in
Obviously,
September.
I haven't, and I'll hit you back in April when we go to a XFL playoff game.
Golly.
Maybe that's a bet we should make. Not that I've been great about my bets.
No, you haven't.
Well, I have been rooting for the Celtics from a distance.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's their record?
The record?
Like that's the classic. When you don't know the answer, you repeat the
what's
question.
What's the record? They're fourth in the East.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
They should be, right?
Well, some might say they're third.
Okay, some might say they're 33 and no. Yeah, they're 33 and 17.
37 and 15.
Not bad.
Not great.
I've been rooting for the Celtics. I lost a bet, and I had to root for the Celtics, and I pay up.
The Raptors have won 15 in a row?
Yeah, dude, very quietly. The Raptors...
I noticed stable genius Ryan Russillo didn't mention that.
Real quick, before we get to the mailbag, this is my favorite thing, and I have it on a piece of paper. Since we're on... he didn't mention that, did he?
No.
Masai Ujiri, president of the Raptors, recently Sheriff Deputy Alan Strickland is suing Ujiri for damages after an altercation near the court at Oracle Arena June 13th, 2019. That, of course, after the Raptors won an NBA Finals decisive game against the Warriors, and Ujiri, the president of the fucking team, is trying to make his way onto the court, and this steroided up looking little bridge troll of a police officer, if you look back at the video, looked to be really animated and upset with Ujiri, who looked confused. There was an altercation of some sort getting onto the court. I'm going to guess that it was something like, it went something like, hey, where the fuck are you going, man? Like, and Ujiri was like, looked back and just kept walking. That's how I think it went, because he's the president and he assumed that with his credentials, he's probably on the court. But Strickland, Sheriff Deputy Alan Strickland, is suing him for damages after that altercation. And the law firm that represents Strickland specializes in personal injury lawsuits in California, as well as a history of representing public safety officers and public employees. This isn't wasting anybody's time, guys. The suit claims that Strickland was thrown back several feet by the force of Ujiri's blows, fist blows to the chest and the face. Somehow not a lot of people saw this,
including the video footage.
Yes,
not really.
It's like there's nothing.
Yeah,
there's nothing. And that he suffered serious injuries to his body and nervous system. Nervous system. That sounds serious.
T's and P's.
That have resulted in permanent disability, along with great mental, physical, emotional, and psychological pain and suffering. The suit claims that Ujiri's actions were foreseeable based on what it cites as Ujiri's previous altercations involving similar circumstances. The Raptors, Maple Leaf Sports, and Entertainment were also named in the suit, accused of failing to warn the plaintiff of Ujiri's violent predisposition and propensity for physical violence prior to his assault on Strickland. Lost wages, other damages in excess of $75,000 on the line. Also accused the defense of failing to provide adequate safety and security to the public and failing to post signs warning danger, including the danger of Masai Ujiri. What would that sign have looked like?
Warning.
Dangerous team president.
Other human beings are in this space. Proceed with caution.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Countersuit, I say.
Yeah.
You know how you can have a foul called on you for flopping these days?
Yep.
This is the basketball equivalent of flopping.
What's the real life equivalent?
This is the real life equivalent of basketball flopping.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And it's I think it's brilliant comedy if there weren't somebody who was actually getting harassed here, and that's Ujiri himself. It would be something I could well, I've already laughed at it because it is ridiculous.
Yep.
So I got to thinking maybe we could drum up some lawsuits.
Okay.
Do you have any lawsuits that you would like to levy against bad actors?
Yeah, I'm going to sue the city of Charlottesville for negligence.
Okay.
The manhole covers in this town.
Yeah.
A world-class city.
Yeah.
A humble world-class city at that. The manhole covers are a good 7, 8, 9 inches, a foot lower than the pavement.
Yep.
It's like if you have a perfectly aligned motor vehicle, which I do because I recently paid for it, you're playing Frogger out there avoiding the badump because of the manhole covers.
Yeah.
Let's get that stuff evened out.
And that nice mid-size SUV you've got.
Mid-size?
Full size?
Full size.
Okay. You don't want to be clanking the rim on the rubber there.
That's right. I'm also suing Malachi Richardson for emotional distress. And maybe I like that psychological pain and suffering. Maybe
why don't you tell people what happened with Malachi Richardson for people that don't live in...
Hey, y'all probably don't know Malachi Richardson because he hasn't done a whole lot after his days at Cuse. Which makes this even worse. Us. Yeah, Elite Eight, United Center, Chicago, Illinois, who's up by a whole heck ton of points with about 8-9 minutes to go. And Malachi Richardson decided to go Michael Jordan on everybody in Chicago. And it was a crushing defeat. He literally made me cry. So I'm suing him.
I would like to sue the Charlottesville Ice Park. When I was a kid, I tried to go ice skating and fell really hard and it hurt my butt. And I don't think I've recovered since.
Who's got the last laugh? That puppy is
it's gone.
Destroyed.
It's gone. But I'm still going to sue whoever is responsible for that.
Fair. My final one is Michael Campos on Twitter for harassment. And I quote, amazing combination of Joel 9-1 and Ryan Russillo. I could listen to both of you shoot the S for hours. I instantly turn my devices off when I hear the voice of Macon Gunter. I
want to sue, since you're talking about Twitter, I'd like to sue Britt McHenry.
Okay.
Tommy Lauren's the major league version. Britt McHenry's like the AAA, AA, single A affiliate of Tommy Lauren. Because one time she made fun of me for donating my salary.
I remember that.
And that really hurt.
Yep.
I mean, that has just stuck with me to this day.
Well, you were doing it for a tax break, right?
I was doing it for a tax break. So for exposing me to the world, I would like to sue Britt McHenry. And she will not go quietly into the night, as you see in the tow truck video.
No. She's got some thoughts.
She might countersue.
Yep.
We'll have more lawsuits for you guys as they come to us because we have been wronged a whole bunch. And thank you, Officer Strickland, for setting an example and inspiring us to right our wrongs. Let's get to Mailbag real quick.
Okay.
While you're here. Jesse Christensen asks.
That's my thing. I really enunciate asks.
I didn't say asks.
You got close, but really just asks.
I know, but asks.
Asks.
Jesse Christensen asks.
Nice.
Chase Young off the board. Who do you take as an edge rusher and why? I kind of want to kick this one over to you.
AJ Epinesa.
Is this the kid from the Iowa Hawkeyes? That's
one. Jonathan Grenard, Florida, is another.
Okay.
And I'll round it out with Bradley Anai, University of Utah. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Since when did defensive end turn into edge? Are we calling that a hybrid of somebody who can stand up?
Well, I think the way I look at it now, is there's so many different ways people are playing that edge position in the league. So, there aren't like as many true defensive ends anymore. I look at this Epinesa kid and his size, like it looks to me like he's a true defensive end. Maybe a guy who can slide in some with his length. But I haven't looked at the guys long enough to make a determination. I think most of these teams feel like the difference between a 4-3 end and an outside backer at this point is lesser than what it was when I got in the league. I mean, would you agree? I mean,
yeah, it's just interesting to go through a mock draft and see a bunch of D tackles and no DNs. They are edge.
Yeah, edge. It's interesting that way. But I haven't watched enough of these guys. Favorite NFL prospects. This comes from K Money. CeeDee Lamb for me. I mean, I said that earlier in the fall. I know that like this isn't a hot take, but I've loved watching CeeDee Lamb. I saw him in an Instagram picture with Anquan Bolden, who is no small guy, and he was kind of dwarfing him. Also, I really like the D tackle from South Carolina. He's supposed to go like bottom of the first round. Kid was homeless. What's his number 7? He's got a single digit number. I was watching his tape a little bit without remembering his name. If you could locate that one for me. Do you have a favorite prospect?
A favorite? I have about 12.
Yeah, give me all 12.
Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, T. Higgins, Mekhi Becton, Chase Young, Derek Brown, Isaiah Simmons, Troy Dye, Bryce Hall, Kayvon Wallace.
Love Bryce Hall.
Yep.
Heard that name there, Virginia.
Yep.
Also, really into the Dobbins thing. It's hard to imagine how he's a miss.
Agreed.
Yeah. Favorite My Morning Jacket song? That's from Thoughts of Lamb. I don't think you are going to have anything here, are you?
I will. Javon Kinlaw.
Javon Kinlaw.
Yep.
Do you remember him?
I don't.
Nice player. Nice player.
To do a little tape study.
Nice player. I like his story too. So, I got five for you. Don Dante, Golden, Steam Engine. Of course, you could listen to that live, and it's one of the best songs you ever heard. Same goes for Don Dante. Touch Me, Part 2. And I think I'm Going to Hell, but you have to listen to that live.
Okay.
You like any of those songs? Those are My Morning Jacket songs.
I know what they are. I'm not familiar with them. I'll tell you the ones that I know. Megiddo.
Yeah. You like that one?
I'm Amazed.
Yeah. Like that one.
That's going to be my top 2.
Okay, good. Top 2 is an interesting number.
You don't see it as much.
You don't see that so much. Usually that means it's... Somebody asked, and you're going to love this one, favorite Russillo moment. This is from Reed Bingham. Do you have a favorite Russillo moment?
Actually, I do.
Yeah?
And he's done this more than once, I found out. But he was on his own radio show with Scott, and somebody asked him a comp to Derek Favors. And he thought for a second. He said, I don't know, Jesus. And I laughed out loud as I was driving.
No.
And that's before I learned that Ryan was mean.
Bad.
Yeah. Self-centered. Really.
Self-centered, yeah. Self-serving.
Jealous.
Toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah, that's a good adjective.
Yep.
For me, it was when he jumped out of a moving boat to save Waylon's toddler-sized Quicksilver hat.
Oh, yeah. So can't lose that.
Yeah, no. I mean, Waylon, 2 years in a row, he can't lose that hat. He lost the hat last year, and I was in the water in Flathead Lake, like I was on the cadaver team looking for a body, trying to find this fucking $3 Quicksilver hat, and all the while he's just crying his eyes out. So when we went out for a little Sunday cruise over the summer, and Uncle Ryan was in town, Brian as Waylon calls him. Ryan's trying to earn his keep as a good house guest. The hat flies off. Full, the boat's going 20 miles an hour. Ryan, of course, rips his shirt off immediately, right?
I'm surprised it wasn't already off.
Baywatch.
Yeah.
Nantucket Baywatch. Martha's Vineyard Baywatch.
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, I don't want to screw the island up. And he jumps in the water and retrieves the hat. So that was probably my favorite Ryan moment, because now every time Ryan's on FaceTime, which is more than you'd like, even if it's after hours and Waylon's still up, because sometimes Ryan's hit the bars in Manhattan Beach a little early, he might call me and Waylon goes, "Is that the guy that saved my hat?" So that's my favorite Ryan moment. What's the best college game I played in? It's from Gilroy. That would be Maryland, 2008. 2007, sorry.
The safety. Among other things.
And we came back. Michael Juice Simpson had a big game. Love beating the Terps. When you can beat them on the road, that's even better. We hate the Terps.
Yeah. Big Tam Sanny had a nice game.
Tom Sanny had a big game. Unacceptable airplane behaviors. This is from Ben Potter. Do you have any?
I have a lot.
Okay.
If the flight is under 2 hours, there are no bathroom breaks.
Okay.
Don't get up.
Got you.
If you're on an aisle.
That's absolutely.
Okay.
That's an insidious rule.
How do you mean?
You got to hydrate when you're in a metal tube that's pressurized to dehydrate you.
You do.
So.
And if we're just puddle jumping, you can hold it.
Nah, can't. Not for a 90-minute flight. Not for.
What about armrests? Here's what I do. I just get in there as early as possible, and I go deep.
Yeah.
Just elbows only, and then I'll have my hands. My hands can be in my lap, and you can have the front 70%, but I just need a little something to anchor me.
I'm okay with that. My big thing with armrests is get rid of them if you can.
Touching the strangers?
I need the room.
You don't anymore.
I do need the room still.
Okay.
I'm wider than most. So
everyone's going to want to talk about shoes on and off.
Yeah, I mean the feet thing on, just keep your feet off everybody else's space.
What about shoes?
I'm not worried about the shoes. I got yelled at once for putting my shoes up on the wall when I was in the bulkhead. This flight attendant talked to me like she purchased the jet cash, and it was hers. Yeah.
Just keep your shoes on.
Yeah, keep them on. Well, socks are okay. I think socks are okay, especially on an international flight.
Okay.
You
got to go over international waters, though.
Yeah.
Safety demo.
Cross country. DC to LA.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm going to be socking it.
Safety.
And I also have good hygiene.
Safety demo.
Okay.
I think we at least owe the flight attendants our eyes.
Eye contact.
Yeah, even if you have the earbuds in.
Just pretend you give a fuck.
Give them your eyes.
Yes. They don't want to do it either. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Let's hope.
Not to be morbid, but it kind of doesn't matter.
Oh, you're saying it's going to end poorly if it's...
Yeah, I mean, unless you've got Sully up there and you got the perfect river to land on.
Yeah, I've always wondered that, because what they're really talking about is opening up the door and then the slide goes out. I think we can handle that.
Yeah, until it's a shit show and everybody's like, I didn't pay attention to the fucking thing. Everybody's screaming. That's kind of the most likely scenario. But, if you get there, you're lucky anyways. So I'm not really worried about the safety thing, but I'll at least act like I am.
Boozing.
Yeah.
I don't do it.
I don't do it because I don't need the hangover plus the jet lag.
Your Super Bowl where? In Houston. So that would have been Pat's?
Yep.
When that flight landed, that group of individuals was well lubricated, yelling about their beloved Pats. And that was flying out of DC or something.
A lot of Pats fans everywhere. Also, for me, I would add, this is, again, unacceptable airplane behaviors. Reclining unnecessarily.
Reclining at all. Thank you.
Don't do it. Unless you're in a seat that backs up to a wall. Don't do it. You don't need it. Chances are you're small. I'm big.
Don't ever recline.
Don't recline. Be kind. Don't recline.
Some would say recline because then everybody else can recline.
No, that's not true. Because at some point the chain is going to be broken. I will kick your seat like I'm fucking 3 years old.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
If you recline on me, no. If you're a little guy and you do the whole business class, hard ass, I'm a CEO of whatever kind of company. I don't know what you do, but you're not big. And you look behind you, you see how much I struggled to slide into my seat, and you probably feel my knees on the seat in front of you. You just recline anyways, violently too. I'm going to kick your seat the entire flight like I'm 3 until you say something. And then I'm going to tell you I don't have any room.
That was like a 3-year-old. I was at the doctor yesterday.
Yeah.
Measured in at 6'4.5".
Nice. That's good.
So imagine being me on an airplane.
Yeah. See, I get it. This is harder for you actually than it is for me.
Yep.
Being mad at kids. Don't do it. Parents are trying to control their kids. You might be a be mad at kids person, huh?
I'm not. Well, to myself.
Yeah. No, listen, here's the thing. No kid is crying on purpose. They don't know what they're doing. Now, a 9-year-old that's kicking your seat for no reason. Now, if you've reclined, then have at it, 9-year-old. But like a toddler who's screaming or a baby that's crying, like if you so much as like give a dirty look to that person, I'm going to like start giving you dirty looks and look for confrontation. And one of us is going to get like hauled off the plane, and it's not going to be me. I'm going to get you mad, and then you're going to be the person on viral video getting handcuffed and taken off the plane.
If you're regularly coughing or sneezing before your flight, stay home. Do not get on the flight.
Just cancel your trip if you're sneezing. Another one would be jumping up and cutting the line on the way out.
Yep.
Can't stand that.
Yep.
You're just soulless. You have no like concept of karma.
When we're boarding by zones these days, why are you jumping up?
Why are you standing in the front?
Yeah.
If I have to ask you, is this first class? Like, yes, it's right here. Where is it? It's right here. Are you first class? No. Like,
first class flex.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm large. Again, I'm not just tall. I'm wide too. So, Skechers wide fit.
Yeah.
Shout out to Howie Long. Worst non-football related plane ride, and then we'll let you go here. Do you have one? I have one. This comes from Owen Burkhard.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Worst non-football related plane ride.
No,
I guess.
I heard it.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on a few football flights, losses and whatnot, but
okay, you go first.
Probably when I was going to Hawaii in the 80s, I was, of course, a toddler. My mom was wearing a white jumpsuit because in the 80s, like, it was cool to wear, like, starter jackets and the pants that corresponded with it as, like, an adult woman. And I was a toddler and decided to explosive diarrhea all over my mom on the way to Hawaii. And it's a white jumpsuit. And I'm sitting there. She's sitting there for 3 hours in this shitty white jumpsuit. And it was all due to yours truly. I think that was probably my worst flight. In retrospect, it hasn't stuck with me because I was a careless toddler, but that was my worst flight.
Okay.
And in the 80s, you're flying. There's no like, let me flip on a movie. There's no internet. There's no Wi-Fi.
Right.
You just got to sit there in your shitty jumpsuit.
Maybe 8-ish years ago, bachelor party, shout out Juan, way back from New Orleans.
Yeah.
Window seat. Bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anxiety, sweats.
Yep. Bad time.
Second guessing your entire existence.
That's right.
Worst unsolicited advice anyone ever gave you. That's from Derek Blaylock. That was when Coach Lewis, who I love, remember Coach Lewis at Stab?
Mm-hmm.
Told me I should play basketball over football because I have a better chance of becoming a professional basketball player. And he meant that as a compliment, but it's as if he didn't watch me play basketball.
Yeah.
That was bad advice.
You were a glue guy.
Yeah. I was a glue guy. Exactly.
My worst unsolicited advice, keep doing that podcast.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, that's a good way to close the show. Thanks for watching. Chalk, what do we got going? We got Killy tapes being released intermittently here. 2 Dudes on a Rock. We got what else there, Cowboy? Oh, yeah. The Fishbowl podcasts. We've got DJ Premier, Kirstie Ennis, Aaron Donald, a bunch of folks that we did an interview series with over the summer, and we have converted them into audio for some of you guys that hate youtube.com. Check those out. And we'll be back with episode 29.
Can't wait, man.
Yeah, don't have to lie.
Well, I can wait a little bit.
Yeah, y'all take care.
Take care.